Have you ever sat in a therapist office and felt like something was missing? Not the tools, not the strategies, something deeper. A quiet pull toward a kind of healing that doesn't have a worksheet. If you felt that and never said it out loud because it sounded too woo-woo, too vague, too hard to explain, today's episode is for you. Today we're talking about spirituality in therapy. Not religious counseling, not a belief system you have to sign up for. Something different. A lot of people in the United States go looking for therapy expecting one thing: a structured conversation, tools for managing anxiety, strategies for changing patterns that aren't working. And those tools genuinely help. Many therapists use them, and they produce real results. But some people are searching for more than symptom management. They want to know why they're here. What actually feels meaningful? And most of the time, that search doesn't fit neatly into a 10-minute check-in or standard insurance covered session. Health Over Wealth in the U.S. is produced by the Centered Care Directory for educational purposes only, not medical or financial advice. Always consult a qualified healthcare professional for your specific situation. Lisa Lewis, a licensed marriage and family therapist and transpersonal energy healing practitioner, runs an online therapy practice in California. This is information based on her article that she wrote in the Health Over Wealth newsletter. Before we get into what she does, it helps to know why. Lisa didn't come to this work only as a clinician. A period of significant personal grief and loss brought her to a place where many of the tools she relied on stopped working, and the only option left was surrender. In that space, she started sitting with deeper questions about purpose, what it means to be here, the kind of person she wanted to become, not just in her roles, relationships, but in a more essential level. She began practicing forgiveness toward others, toward herself, in ways she hadn't before. That experience is what she brings into every session now. Lisa is one of the practitioners you can find in how.healthcare. Here's the thing she wants you to know. If any of this resonates with you, you're not weird. You're not too woo-woo, and you are not alone. What does spirituality in therapy actually mean? When Lisa tells people she incorporates spirituality into her work, the first question is almost always whether that means religious counseling. It doesn't. Spirituality in therapy doesn't require a defined belief system, a religious affirmation, or even calling yourself spiritual. What it takes is an openness to exploring your inner world more deeply through things like connection, intuition, nature, energy, or something you don't have language for yet. For some clients, that looks like connecting to God or a higher power. For others, it's tuning into a deeper sense of self, what we call the higher self, the soul, or inner wisdom. This is the space that transpersonal therapy holds. There's no single right framework. What matters most is the experience itself and what becomes available when you stop leaving part of yourself outside the therapy room. Is this just talk therapy with a spiritual label on it? Great question. This is the misconception Lisa hears most, and she understands why. It isn't talk therapy with religious overlay, and it isn't cognitive behavioral therapy with a spiritual twist. Her work is body, mind, spirit integration, drawing on somatic awareness, nervous system regulation, and a real exploration of who you are underneath the roles that you carry. Roles like mother, father, partner, professional. Where traditional approaches often work from the top down, starting with thoughts and beliefs, this work also moves from the inside out. The goal is reaching the root instead of spending years managing what grows from it. A significant part of that process is authentic expression, learning to speak your truth, hold healthy boundaries, and act from your genuine self instead of a conditioned response. This isn't soft work. For a lot of people, it's the most direct and freeing work they have ever done. What shifts when spirituality has a place in the room? When there's a space for spiritual exploration in a session, the conversation moves differently. Instead of only focusing on what needs to be fixed, there's room for bigger questions like, what actually feels meaningful to me? Why am I here? What kind of life do I want to create? Clients don't need to arrive with answers. The invitation is simply to stay curious. And what Lisa consistently sees in a new kind of perspective emerging, situations that once felt overwhelming start to feel clearer. A sense of lightness arrives, and hope returns, not as a strategy, but as something that's simply present again. Letting go becomes more possible of old identities, of what no longer fits of the past. You can search for transpersonal or spiritual integrated therapists near you at how.healthcare.